This is Pastor David's Daily Bread Guide message. Today's chapter is Deuteronomy 24. The title is God's Heart for the Disadvantaged. Can be divided into 4, verse 1 to 5, regarding the married women. Verse 6 to 9, regulations on kidnapping and defiling skin diseases. Verse 10 to 16, regulations to protect the poor. Verse 17 to 22, regulations on the fatherless and widow. The first part is about the married woman. Verse 1, if a man marries a woman who becomes displeasing to him because he finds something indecent about her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce, gives it to her, and sends her from his house. And the verse 2 says, and if after she leaves his house, she becomes the wife of another man, it means don't take marriage easy and do not respond with your emotion to the marriage. And verse 5 also says, if a man has recently married, he must not be sent to war or have any other duty laid on him. For 1 year he is to be free to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife he has married. So this is to consider the wife of a man. So if they got married, newly got married, then the man has the duty to please his wife. That's why he will not be sent to the war. This is the regulations to protect the married women. The part 2 is about the regulations on kidnapping and also defiling skin diseases. Verse 6 says, do not take a pair of milestones, not even the upper one, as security for a debt, because that would be taking a person's livelihood as security. So milestone is a tool to cook a meal. So it's not allowed to take a pair of milestones. Verse 7, if someone is caught kidnapping a fellow Israelite and treating or selling them as a slave, the kidnapper must die. You must purge the evil from among you. So kidnapping is this is crime. So the person who kidnaps the fellow Israelite and treat or sell them as a slave, this person should die. Verse 8 to 9, in cases of defiling skin diseases, be very careful to do exactly as the Levitical priest instructs you. You must follow carefully what I have commanded them. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam along the way after you came out of Egypt. So why did Miriam got such defiling disease, skin disease? Because she was against God, and she was against the spiritual leaders. So here we get the lesson that if the spiritual leaders they receive the vision from God, and this vision is in God's hand, this is in God, then our attitude to their leadership is to obey. We need we need to show obedience to their leadership if the spiritual leaders are under God's authority. Verse 12 to 13. If the neighbor is poor, do not go to sleep with their pledge in your possession, and return their cloak by sunset so that your neighbor may sleep in it. So the third part is about the regulations on the fatherless. this is to protect the poor. The third part is regulations to protect the poor. From these verses, we can know that God cares. God does care about the disadvantaged, socially disadvantaged, including the women, the fatherless and orphans, widows, and also slaves. God always has his heart on the disadvantaged and the marginalized in the society. The last part is from verse 17. This is the regulations on especially the fatherless and the widows. Verse 17, do not deprive the foreigner or the fatherless of justice, or take the cloak of the widow as a pledge. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you from there. That is why I command you to do this. Verse 19 says, when you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back to get it. Leave it for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. And verse 20, when you beat the olives from your trees, do not go over the branches a second time. Leave what remains for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow. And the same in 21, when you harvest the grapes in your vineyard, do not go over the vines again. Leave what remains for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow. God commands the Israelites not to take the advantage of those disadvantages, and we need to consider them, and this is our attitude towards the marginalized. And the reason for this is because verse 22, remember that you were slaves in Egypt. That's why I command you to do this. So in conclusion, God takes care about the disadvantage like fatherless, widows, slaves, and the foreigners. And he's saying to the Israelites, as you enter the land of Canaan, you need to take care of the marginalized and you need to serve them. This is the lifestyle that they have. So I bless you to have such a life to serve the disadvantaged. God bless you.